Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining for this session today. Today, I'm going to talk about VxRail in the real world. I will share some experience that I have with this kind of appliance. And I will share with you some tips and tricks, okay? Well, I'll talk a little about me. My name is Arles Santana. I am a Brazilian. And so I have more than 20 years in experience with IT infrastructure, especially with VxRail. I'm started with 400 of VxRail, is a vRail, okay? And if you want to learn more about me and access my LinkedIn, have an entire description there, and can you contact me through LinkedIn, okay? And then I will start our agenda for today. The first part of our presentation, we are talking a little about key points of VxRail, and after we are describe some important steps or key points or some tips about the installation, and after install, we have some key points to pay attention, and some tips and some problems I faced during the updating the device, and I will share some tips with you, and and some reference and docs to solve possible problems during the updating or during using the device in day by day, during the day by day. Okay, so the key points of VxRail. In my opinion, VxRail is a game changer. For me, is the best HCI solution. I have some experience with other players, other solutions, but for me, if you use VMware, if you have this free infrastructure, VxRail is the best solution, because the true single pane of glass, you can do everything on the same screen, the vCenter screen, and this is great, because other solutions, maybe you need to go out of vCenter, perform some tasks, return to vCenter. In this case, it's not. This is truly real single panel of glass. You do everything inside vCenter. The interface, you are very well customized using on your day-by-day IT administration, IT infrastructure administration. And the other interesting fact is the compatibility, fully compatible with vSAN. Some years ago, during VMworld, I do not remember the exact year, I watched a presentation about problems with vSAN. And one of the most common problems with vSAN is about compatibility. The other thing is very interesting about VxRail is the real on-click update. You press on button and everything goes automatically. You know, do you have firmware updates? Do you have vSphere updates? Do you have vCenter updates? Don't worry about these, and the process is very automated, and you don't need to take care. You don't need to worry about this. You don't worry about, okay? And the other interesting fact is the unique point of contact. If you have problem, you just call for one person, one number, and they will solve your problem without need to contact many vendors. This is a great advantage of the HCI, and especially when you're working with a VxRail. Well, now I will share some tips about the installation. The first one is don't ignore the requirements, especially about network and DNS. You need to spend some time planning your installation, and it's very, very important using the solve procedures for install. I have experience with more 200 devices deployed, and every installation is a new installation. And every installation do you face different kinds of problems. And the many times the problems are occurring because sometimes you're not check and trying the requirements, especially about the network. Okay, and it's not a problem if you spend some time planning your installation, reviewing requirements, okay, and reading some solve procedure, special notes about the installation before you start the installation, okay. If you are using Dell network suites compatible with smart fabrics, evaluate the benefits of use this feature, okay? Because when you use smart fabric switches, do you not need to configure the switches? VxRail configure automatically the switch for you. This is maybe save time during the deployment, okay? Many people said, no, this is not so good, but if you deploying a cluster with a lot of nodes, maybe this is a good idea. Well, it's a prefer to use the switches in the mode, not in the stacking mode. Prefer to use VLT if you are using Dell networking, or VPC if you are using Cisco switches, or other manufacturers have different names for the same feature. I don't recommend the use of stacking, because when you use Tor switches in the stacking mode, when you need to perform some kind of maintenance, like primary updates, you can incurring on network disrupt and network down, and this is not good. And when you're planning your network for HCI solution, especially about VxRail, we recommend to use two switches. And in this mode, VLT or VPC, they are working independently. But outside, if your other switch looking for this, the other switch see like a one switch, okay? But do you have benefits about this configuration? Because you can perform updates without any network outage, okay? VxRail requires some specific VLANs, and you need to configure that before you start your implementation. When you after you put the device on the rack, you need to cable them. When you are cable them, pay attention in the ports. Don't worry about network interface cards outside the onboard interface cards, because the setup using only onboard cards, okay? And my recommendation for this is using odd ports in one switch and even ports in another, because VxRail that have a predefined network organization, network layout, and if you're looking in the network planning guide, this document you can find during the LMC websites. At the end of the presentation, I will share the address of the LMC websites when you where you want to find this kind of documentation. After installing the devices, after cable the device, I recommend to configure I drag off all nodes first, because sometimes I face problems. I had problems with some implementations. I remember a specific case. I spent a lot of hours believing that the problem is network configuration. And in fact, the problem was a problem. You need to look at direct console user interface of each node and look if the information about PSMT is present. Some nodes produced last year have a bug with this, and they don't have PSNT identification, and these they not can be found during the cluster configuration. And because of this, I very recommend to configure iDirect first. Look if each nodes are health. Look for hardware problems before you start your implementation, in fact. In case of using external vCenter, take a look at VxRail vCenter Server Planning Guide. This is a document because not every vCenter configuration are supported on the VxRail installation. Especially when you use external vCenter server, you need to check not only the vCenter Server Planning Guide, but from support matrix, you need to check if you are using the correct version of the vCenter server before you start your implementation. VxRail Manager have the full IP address, but I really recommend you to change for a definitive IP address before you start your cluster building. Okay, for 2-node cluster, I really recommend you to configure a witness traffic separation, a special network, a separate VLAN for this, and take care with you the witness about 2 facts. The documentation about 2-node cluster is very simple, and sometimes you face a lot of the problems with 2-node clusters because it's not so common implementation. It's not well covered in the training for implementation of VxRail. If you perform VxRail implementation course, it's a small portion of the course that they talking about 2-node cluster, but 2-node cluster is a little difficult to put on production because the documentation are simple and not cover all aspects. My recommendation is for this is use the same version of the rules about the vSAN witness. When you download and deploy the vSAN witness, take care with this, because if the vSAN witness has a different disk version than the hosts, you can't perform the deploy of the VxRail 2-node cluster. Okay. Well, if it's happened during your installation, you face this screen, do not panic. I face this kind of the problem in some implementations. In the most of case, just press try again, and this solves the problem. Many times this is occurring because some tasks do not perform at the correct time, and because of these, you face this kind of the problem during the implementation. But just press try again. If this doesn't work, look at the log and try to do the task manually. Example, in one of my implementations, I faced a problem with a specific step when the configuring enhanced vMotion compatibility and the installation stopped. I faced a similar screen of this, but I just read the logs and enable enhanced vCenter compatibility manually, and done problem. And the installation, and I press try again, and the install continue, and the cluster was deployed with success. After install, it's very important to rename entities, because VxRail after the installation has a different names. It's not different, strange names. Not to say the strange is the best word for this, but many customers, many people want to rename the entities. But my recommendation is look for the solved procedures for this, because not any entity can be renamed. Okay, and the solved procedures are very, very complete about this. They have step-by-step instructions to perform renaming entities. Okay, enable vSAN perform services is very important too. Enable Skyline, the online health check. I recommend this because before you enter in production, the environment start production. This is very important. You make a health check of your cluster using the online option. If you want to use the duplication, compression, and encryption, this is the time before you put the device in production. Because when you activate, when you enable these features, it's necessary to reformat the disks, and this task is time consuming. And the other thing, during this task executing, you have limited availability. Because of this, I recommend, and after install, before you move your workloads to the new cluster, enable this. Okay. And the other very important step is enable VxRail, the call home function of VxRail. And this is not only used for problems. Recently, we have ACA as an analytical consulting engine. The data transferred by VxRail are used for analytical consulting engine. Analytical consulting engine is a very new feature introduced last December. And it's very, very interesting because this feature provides information, analytical information about your cluster and perform updates. When you perform updates, I prefer, for my experience with a lot of implementations, to use offline bundle and the internet upgrades, especially when you are deploying more than one cluster in the same organization. Maybe this is a strange scenario, but it's not so strange for me because we have a limit on the standard cluster of 64 nodes, and sometimes some companies work with 2 or 3 clusters, and sometimes when you need to deploy more than one cluster, you need to do that. Download the offline bundle and perform updates faster than you use the internet upgrade. Okay. If you found errors during the upgrade, don't worry. Don't worry. Just press try again. It's most cases enough. Okay. And I performed installation here in Brazil and in a customer, a lot of 2-node clusters in remote regions of Brazil. And some regions don't have good power sources. And sometimes during the update, I face a power outage. Okay, don't worry if it is occurred because you just power on the solution again, and the update continue. Okay, very, very rarely you face a problem that you need to contact support to solve this kind of problem. And if you face error during the upgrade, please look the log. Sometimes the log have more information, more detailed information that help you to solve the problem. Well, solve the problems before you can contact the support. Okay. Before you contact support, take a look at event code reference. And this, I put some reference here. just 2 links because this documentation changes every day. And just put two links. The Solve online. The Solve has a lot of procedures step by step. And the InfoRub. InfoRub is an entire documentation about VxRail. So for today is this. Thank you for your time. And you have doubts, feel free to contact me. Okay? Thank you.